The Sanctity of the Cow for New Residents January 2012 Care for Cows in Vrindavan Cows in Heat Care for Cows in Vrindavana CFC Trustees Gurmarupa Dasa Hansarupa Dasa Vraja Mohan Dasa Haivalabha Dasa Radha Govinda Dasa Amit Dulani Patrons Mahanahai Swami Maharaja CFC Staff Kesi Nisadana Dasa Braja Gopal Dasa, Switzerland, Puri Maharaja Razamandala Dasi Radhapati Dasa Syam Hari, Vijay, Ravi, Sukumar, Santosh, Tej Prakash, Ajit Editor Gurmarupa Dasa Contributing Editor, Razamandala Dasi Care for Cows in Vrindavana is inspired by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Founder Acharya International Society for Krishna Consciousness Dear friends, Jaya Sri Guru, Jaya Sri Gopala, Jaya Sri Gomata. CA-ReferCows.org Care for Cows in Vrindavan is a charitable trust registered in India, USA, and Switzerland. The CFC staff 5 calls come from concerned Vrindavan cow lovers regarding a handsome adolescent black bull hobbling around MVT. His left front ankle is injured and he can barely walk. He's going to starve if we don't help him, they all say. Our recuperation rooms are full and the unexpected rain on the first day of the year has created further crowding. Rainwater has made the road under construction to care for cows a slippery, dangerous mess. What to do? Bhima Karma will supply the food, Karuna Purna will feed him and keep him dry, Parvati will host the unexpected guest, the personification of Dharma, in her garden until Indra's wrath passes and we can accommodate him, and Gopal Bhatta volunteers to sponsor the Black Beauty for a year. Goseva is contagious. It unites people. It allows us to practice compassion. I hope this issue finds you experiencing the happiness and internal satisfaction that accompanies Goseva. In early December I accompanied Jasomatinandan Prabhu, Acharya Dharmendra, and Acharya Samskritananda Hari on a visit to the Bansi Gur Goshala, on the outskirts of Ahmedabad. The Goshala is the private endeavour of Sri Gopal Sutarya Patel, who is a rich builder of Ahmedabad. He's a young entrepreneur, 36 years old, who spends 4 hours a day at the Goshala, looking after the 107 Gur cows. Gurs are one of India's indigenous breeds of cattle known for being a good milkers. They are indigenous to the Saurashtra region of the present Gujarat state. Here are some of the interesting features of the Goshala gathered during our visit there. 1. Cows and bulls are pedigree. Records of their lineage have been meticulously kept. 2. Records of the milk production of the present animals are kept, and records of the milk production of their ancestors are in hand. 3. All cattle are fed fresh, green grass, no dry grass. 4. Green grass grown at the Goshala is a special variety that grows up to 14 feet in height. 5. Only organic cattle feed is fed to the animals, in addition to the grass mentioned herein above. 6. Milk is being sold at Rs 70 per liter by the Goshala, the local market rate is Rs 25/30 per liter. Ghee is also produced. I neglected to ask about the retail rate he asks for that. 7. The Goshala has protected some cows and bulls that were slated for export to Brazil, where there is a sizable population of Gur cattle that were exported there from Gujarat in the past. 8. Sri Gopal Sutarya promised to donate us a 1-year-old bull, who would become a breeding bull for our exclusively Gur Goshala at ISKCON Baroda. Pictures of the visit can be seen on the internet at https://picasaabe.google. om/10336099465218203057 Gurgoshala Ahmedabad or http://tinyurl.com/60t83td Visit to Bansi Gur Goshala by Basu Gosh Das. Every day Gurmarupa Prabhu has been taking an hour out of his schedule to take Bola, the strong 3-year-old purebred Tarparka bull, for a daily walk along the road outside of CFC Kiki Nagla. Here are some beautiful photos which show how even a powerful animal like Bola can be conquered with love and kindness. Grazing land has all but disappeared here in Vrindavan as in many parts of India due to urbanization and also due to industrial farming practices, with many of those farmers who have not sold out to developers having been persuaded to trade in their bullocks for tractors and artificial fertilizer to create cash crops. Bola's daily walks by Rasamandala Dasi in Vrindavan. Developers have been investing in huge areas of land to create so-called green apartment complexes for both the Delhi residents as a spiritual weekend getaway and also to house the numerous international guests. Although many thoughtful and caring persons have taken in many of the cows who had recovered from their traumas after being cared for at CFC, as reported in previous issues of CFC newsletters, more land is required to allow the current residents and newcomers a place to kick up their heels and play rather than being restricted to the limited Gaushila area. New residents Raza is a 7-month-old female calf who was abandoned in Madhuvan colony. She is very friendly and determined to get what she wants. She is a picture of good health since she is endowed with enough aggression to get her needs met. She is a natural leader and enjoys being groomed regularly. She requires a sponsor. This 3-year-old bull got in a fight with a larger street bull and was pushed into a drain under construction. His left rear leg is swollen at the joint and he received minor gashes all over his legs and torso. He hobbled to my door in Madhuvana colony as if he knew that was the place to get medical aid. He is presently recuperating in the winter sun at Kiki Nagla. This 5-month-old black bull calf was found sitting on the side of the road in Sundrak village. His pelvis has been injured and he is not able to get up by himself. If he is assisted, he can stand and walk around. He has a good appetite and we are hopeful he will recover. Fully new residents. The above 8-month-old bull calf was rescued from Sant colony by 2 ladies who called us for help. He is healthy, friendly and well adjusted. It is apparent that he has not been on the street for long. News that cows have best friends comes as no surprise to those of us who have worked with them and their mood swings. Who would think that beneath that calm exterior there is a boiling mass of emotions? I'm not talking about Wimbledon champions here, but cows. Yes, cows, those creatures that we take milk from, but rarely think about. According to new research by scientists at Northampton University, cows have best friends and get stressed when separated. In his book The Cow, the former butcher and poet Beat Sterke invented an adjective to describe the way that cows stand placidly, cow peaceably. If you watch cows lying down in a field, they will normally be ruminating, chewing on regurgitated grass, staring blankly into space and looking totally at peace. This state of total calmness makes the cow appear withdrawn and otherworldly. This is perhaps why we assume there is nothing much going on between a cow's ears. But we cow lovers have always known that cows have emotional depth. D.H. Lawrence wrote brilliantly about his relationship with Susan, a black cow that he milked every morning in 1924-5 on his ranch in Taos, New Mexico. He comments on her cowy oblivion, her cow inertia, her cowy passivity and her cowy peace, and he wonders where she goes to in her trances. But he believes, quite rightly, that their cows have best friends by Hannah Velton is always a certain untouched chaos in her, which is never far away. Some days, he writes, she is fractious, tiresome, and a faggot. This is because she will deliberately do things to annoy him, such as swinging her tail in his face during milking, so sometimes she swings it, just on purpose, and looks at me out of the black corner of her great, pure black eye, when I yell at her. To anyone who works, or has worked, with cows, it comes as no surprise that cows are capable of friendships. Within any herd there is a pecking order that results in cows coming into the milking parlor every time in more or less the same position in the queue. Certain cows will always be the ringleaders when trouble occurs. Bulldozing fences until they give way is often found out by accident, but then pursued with great joy by the felons. And woe be to anyone who gets in the way of a mother and her calf. But there are also the gentler cows who always appreciate a scratch behind the ear as you go past, and the cows that Temple Grandin, the animal scientist, would describe as curiously afraid. These cows, and most do exhibit this behavior, will be curious of any new thing but terrified of it at the same time. The braver ones will come forward to investigate first, but will stand at such a distance that their necks and tongues will be stretched out as far as possible. They will snort, sniff, and try to lick the novelty until they decide after about 15 minutes that they are bored and will wander off. There's a lot going on between those hairy ears. Signs of heat, estrus. In ruminants, heat or estrus is the period when the female will accept the male and mate. There are signs which mark estrus in all ruminants. Recognizing when the female is on heat means you will know when to put her with the male or use artificial insemination. What is heat? The female reproductive system consists of 2 ovaries and a womb. Every so often the ovaries produce very small eggs, ova. The time when this happens is called heat or estrus. Cattle and buffalo regularly come into heat all year round. Knowing when a cow is in heat. If you know when a cow is in heat, you can introduce her to a chosen male for mating, or you can arrange for her to be artificially inseminated if the service is available. You will also be able to identify animals which do not go in heat. The time to look for signs that the female is in heat is early morning or evening. Take care not to disturb the animals, but just watch the animals for the signs. Signs of heat. Ruminants can be kept on pasture, or they may be stabled or tied up for most of the time. It is therefore necessary to consider this when looking for signs of heat. 1. Signs of heat in free animals. At pasture, most females in heat will allow other animals to mount them. Cows in heat will mount one another, from the rear or from the front. However, the cow on top may not be on heat. The vulva becomes swollen and the area around the tail becomes wet and dirty. If cows sniff each other's vulva and urine, they may both come into heat. Cows can be coming into heat if they stand resting the chin on the back of another or are seen to lick or gently butt each other. Restlessness and calling loudly can also mean the female is coming into heat. Goats in particular become very noisy. 2. Signs of heat in the stabled or tied animal. The animals should be allowed out twice a day when they can be watched for signs of heat. If the female is not allowed out, then the following will show that she is in heat. Swollen vulva. Excerpt from a manual for primary animal health care worker. Cows on heat of milk produced suddenly drops. A jelly-like mucus can be found on the floor with the dung. You will need to be able to recognize the differences between signs of heat and signs of ill health in the animal which is tied up. How long does heat last? The duration of heat is short. In cows and buffalo it lasts for less than a day. A healthy animal which was not mounted by a male or given artificial insemination will come back into heat. Cattle and buffalo cows will come into heat after 3 weeks, give or take a day or 2. The female which does not come into heat, the female may not show signs of heat because she is too old, or she may have been mated without the owner knowing. Sometimes animals come into heat without showing any signs. This is called a silent heat and is common in buffalo cows. If the feed is not sufficient or there is a lack of protein, salts, or water, the animal can fail to come into heat. You will need to improve the female's feed to bring it into heat. If young, well-fed females do not come into heat or do not become pregnant, you should ask your local veterinarian for advice. The animal is active, there is a loss of appetite and she calls loudly. In milking animals, the amount a Gurji Unin Aditi Sathai Ajitananda Dasalina Years Hova Amit Goswami Andri Krivakoratov Anil Kumar Anapala Kyuka Anonymous Anurada Kavlamudi Ariel Telford Artem Polygalan Asvin Gupta Avinash Biravalu Bernard Faustino Carl and Stella Hersig Carol Simpson Chandrika Pasupati Christian Kastner Danielle Meaden Daniel Kolobeev Derek Carol Devaki Kumar Dasa Devender Kumar Dina Sarana Dasa Doyle Govinda Dasa Elena Emalenko Elena Nikiforov Gaurn Gapriya Dasi. Hamlesh Modahuman J. Samanjanaki Romano J. Asasai Sudha Dasa Johan Wallander Joseph Frankel Kamala Meltsak Kantalal Shivlal Kitri Waterman Kripa Sindhu and Kuching Devotees Krush Deepak Lilia Tonava Lordana Korika Madhavi Guntupali Mandiram Mani and Sri Govinda Marina Gritse Marjalangkamp Mark Lee Mary L. Valerio May Apurchandra and Champak Leda Mika Twominan Minikatanarama Dasa. May cows stay in front of me, may cows stay behind me, may cows stay on both sides of me. May I always reside in the midst of cows. Hari Bhakta Vilas 16.252 The cows send their heartfelt thanks to those who assisted during December 2011. Thank you from the cows Nalini Gagar Nayan Rupareli Anil Narayan Panthea McKnight Paolo Musu Pure Heart Rachel Borsh Rahul Sharma Ramista Dasa Razamandala Dasi Ravi Gopal Robert Good Rohini Sudha Dasa Sanjeev Keswani Sradhar Rajkumar Srinivasan Ganesan Subha Anand Svetlana Sanatina Tracy Molina Venkata Venkateswaran Venkatesh Raghavan Vijay Sharma Vikas Shah Vivek Baluya Vyasapada Dasa Yajanavakaya Dasa